I want to talk about this article because it has a couple of points that we need to basically keep in the back of our mind when we're reading about articles on such a large topic such as global warming. So, it first starts out, it talks about extremely likely that more than half of the observed increase in global average temperature from 1951 to 2010 was caused by the anthropogenic increase in greenhouse gases. Does anyone know what anthropogenic means? No. Okay, so that's humans, that's people. That's like a fancy scientific term for what people are. Anyway, they came to this conclusion based on expert assessment drawing on multiple analysis of observed temperature changes. Basically, that means that a lot of experts collected a lot of data and they started to draw some conclusions from it. However, there are some uncertainties, and this is why this article is great, because it presents the data, but then it also talks about how there's gaps in the data and that there's uncertainties. So they're talking about here specifically that how humans may cause these temperatures and changes in extreme events, but may not be the entire contributing factor. So. Okay, so I'm going to scroll down here and make sure I have the right spot. Variation or a data gap that they found was that particularly in tropical regions and high latitudes. Basically, they should expect a variation here because it's simply due to human activities, not necessarily because of global warming. The second factor they talk about right down here, local influences such as changes in land cover and pollution, reducing sunlight. So, what I mentioned before, pollution can cause, especially over LA, there's a lot of air pollution. The sunlight can't get through. If the sunlight can't get through, that can cause a variation in their recorded temperatures for that day. Alright, and the third point that this article makes is that systematic changes in weather systems would influence local weather and incidences of extremes. So, kind of like what I mentioned before, is that changes in weather or weather patterns, El Nino and El Niña, which is like the decreasing or the increasing of average global temperatures, can influence those extremes. Something that the Earth naturally goes through. Now there's a graph right above here that I want you guys to take a look at. If I can make it bigger. There we go. Okay, so this is a picture of our world. And all these little red dots, and you can see like there's a couple of blue dots and some no changes are the white ones, and we have little changes. So this is in degrees Celsius from 1951 to 2010. These red zones indicate that there has been a change of over 3 degrees Fahrenheit in these particular areas, so especially here in the north. Oh, now it's really big. Okay, that works. So especially here in the north, you see some very extreme temperature changes. When you have these extreme temperature temperature changes, you're going to start to see more tundra, you're going to see a lot more snow melting. So a lot of this is more in the northern region. Now that doesn't mean that the temperatures down here are not changing. It just means that we don't have as much data down there yet. We can see the effects of global warming, especially when we're talking about how ice and the glaciers are starting to break up. So this right here, right along the equator, is starting to experience greater extremes of temperature, which is how we're starting to get more of the expansion of the deserts. Here we're starting to get more exposure of the tundra. We're starting to see areas of land that we haven't seen before, simply because the ice and the snow is melting. In conclusion, with this article that I guys handed out to you, and to kind of get you started on our next topic, it states that there's little doubt that human activities are the main cause of global warming. So we pretty much know that humans are one of the main causes that the world is heating up. But we really need to work to better understand the causes and changes in these regional climates. If we get better understanding of what's happening in this area, then we could have that possibility of preventing that or reversing those effects. Which is why